It's on. Black tie event. Today's the day. The match has already started. We are in progress. Let me update the stream. There we go. Let me send a tweet out. What's up, Rain? What's up, Jimmy? You're late, hey, mister. I do wear a tie. It's a Sherd Guy 99. Okay, we're all here. All right, I've got them all up. Thank you for being here. All right, let's do this. Let's get back to the Factorio. All right, let's turn it down. All right. We are officially here.
Well, hey.
How you doing, Mojo?
How's it going? I'm doing pretty good.
We did it. It's going to happen. Okay, well, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. This is the third or fourth such massive production PvP Factorio production scoring contest between Colonel Will Anti-Elites, and we have a new team. Shred Guy and his team are in. It's going to be fun.
Yep,
my partner, as always, is there? Oh, the subs.
I only just learned about this.
I don't know where they are. Yeah, me too.
So supporters is a mixture of Colonel Will and Exterminator supporters.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. So there's 4 teams in this contest. Let's take you, everybody go follow my partner today for Mojo D. His link's in the chat. He is a brief world record holder.
The briefest wisp of a world record.
It was a brief wisp. All right, on the screen at this moment, you can see the 4 teams. So we have Moar Faster, which is Colonel Will Exterminator, Hefnick Studio, Stu, Fienjox, and D3 Phoenix. That's Will's team. In the purple, then we have Shrednation, led by Shred Guy, Spinner, Intertooth, Santa, Extrinix, Voske, Rinser, and Alingus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on their team. They filled a team. How about that? Team Steelaxe, led by Anti-Elites, the man to beat, along with Zulin, Narf, Aceto, Bilka, and Phoenix. Seems like Steelaxe is going to be the favorite today, because they've won all the other ones. And then the supporters in Cyan, Godmave, Nick, INJ, MVO, Kowalski, Commotion Socks, and Damo238. All right, is it safe to join spectators?
It is.
It is. Okay. With this button. Okay, I'm in the center, I think.
Yep, and what you do is just bring up the map and use map view to look where you want.
Okay. And I haven't yet... Okay, I'm going to stay in the center, but do I have to go explore, right?
No. So you can just as soon as you bring up the map, zoom right out, you should be able to see all 4 teams.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, wow. They're far out. Okay.
Yeah. So the teams are 4,000 tiles from each other, and that way, and there's also what I hope to be a bite of death world in between, and so that if they want to go PvP, they're going to have to work for it.
Okay. All right, cool. Okay, so we are not going to wander around. We're just going to use map view.
Right. Yeah, we can just use map view.
Play. Okay. How about if you take the audience through the rules today, and I'm going to zoom in and kind of look at what everybody's doing, and just some of the parameters that you've set up the map, because you're the map master, correct?
Yeah. So I'll start with the game overall. So this game mode is called the Production Score Challenge in the PvP map. So the map scenario itself, it's called PvP, but it has several different game modes, as well as traditional, military conquest PvP, and the first to launch a rocket, which existed when this map first came out. And for this one, it's all about who can build a base which produces the most. And as you can see with the production score window, so we have the team's total score and their score per minute, how much score they're accumulating. And that was actually a feature that was recently added, particularly for this match. So for the game itself, we have a production goal which is more or less unobtainable within the time limit. So we have a time limit of 4 hours, 10 minutes of which is already up. You may notice this time the start resources are fairly generous. It's decided to turn them up a bit as well. So everything is all the rich, not richness, is the size. They're all set to very big. Just that way, so people don't have to go too far out.
All right. I also noticed that it looks like the same resources are in each starting block.
Yes, that's one of the latest changes. So this version of the map that we're playing on isn't actually out yet. This will be coming in 16.16.
Awesome. So this is not, I mean, everyone here is running on version 16.15 is the actual game mode, but the map itself, the map scenario, is kind of a future version that is not released yet. This is largely due to the work of Mojo D and one of the Factorio devs. His name is Clonin TV. You'll see him bumping around Will's chat.
Yep.
And in mine. And they've created I will in just a second, Jimmy. They've created a version in between the versions that'll be coming out in 16.16. And so, so let's zoom in. Let's go. I'm just taking a look. So if you look at each of these map views, you'll see that the oil spots are the same, the coal spots are the same. So everybody inside this here are starting with the same resources in the same location. So, all right. So let's zoom in, and we will start off with. We're in the center. We'll start off with Colonel Will. Let's zoom in to see how they're doing. It looks like they've got 4 smelting lines planted in blueprints, but only one. It looks like Colonel Will is doing the placement.
They've got their first smelters down.
Yeah, they do have their first smelters down in a row. Let me hit the Alt button so I can see what they're building. But they don't have their line yet. They have a little central location. They've also got 3 copper, mostly iron. Exterminator's out there working on power out in the boondocks. Looks like he's got science as well. Phoenix looks like he's they're coming up to patch, looking to take advantage of that 2.6 million coal down at the bottom. The coal that they have up near for the smelting, I guess the starting coal is only 186K. So they're going to have to find. They're going to have to go tap that. All the teams are going to have to tap that pretty quick. Okay. All right. So there's Colonel Will. They've got it. They went and planted all of them. Let's go here. What is Stu doing? Looks like Stu's going to be the first one to jump outside the boundary.
Now this is going to be interesting because there is a cooldown, and if he goes too far out, you should see him teleport back. So this is so at the very beginning, first 60 minutes of the match, there is what's called a no rush cooldown, and that stops you. There we go. You can actually see it happening now. And yeah, so for the first 60 minutes of the match, they can't leave the confines of the starting area.
Right, or Stu is probably at the very end. Oh,
yeah.
He's those little bitty teleports that that he's doing. Okay.
And when I say
okay.
When I say confines of the starting area, I mean the confines of the chunk which contains it. So that's why he's able to go a little bit past the gate, because the gate is sitting in the middle of the chunk.
Okay. So it looks like he's explored a 579K coal that he can probably mine some of, but not all of.
It's likely he is looking for stone. So on this map, stone is, as it turns out, is pretty rare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's look inside. I don't see. Oh, yeah, up here at the north, there's a 408K above Will's base, but inside?
Inside everyone's base, if you look to a little bit in sort of the center, there's 2 patches, iron and copper, 1.4 million, 161,000, which in between that, sandwiched in between that, is the tiniest little sliver of stone, and that's all of the stone that every team has.
I'm looking for it now. Is it under some trees?
There
it is.
Yeah, just
okay, over on the left side. Wow, that is nothing. Yeah. Okay, that's an issue. That is okay. So did we? So as we know, as you know, the last time that let's go look at Anti and his team.
I'm very keen to see what Andy's
Last,
doing. He's pulled out something. His
yep.
production score's storming ahead.
Oh yeah, look at there. Team Steelaxe is now they're up to 15K a second. Looks like they're struggling on power a little bit. They did find the stone, and they are mining every bit of it into that into a chest. Looks like they've blueprinted out what they're going to do. They've got a lot of forest to clear over here on the left side.
Yeah, you weren't quite up yet when this blueprint went down. It went down so quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's no surprise they would have everything. I mean, he would have just about everything planned out and say, okay, we're going to do X, Y, and Z super quick. Now, look, this is my favorite Red Science starter build. I do this one quite a bit. Throw that in there and just kind of share all of that with these builders and get the Red Science going. Now, they started off with a little bit of extra stuff in their inventory. They didn't just start out with 4 iron and a pickaxe and a driller and a furnace, right?
Not for this round. So this round currently it's just default.
Oh, they didn't start off with a small?
No, not in the end.
Okay. All right. There is an option. There was the newer option in this build that allowed you to choose a small, medium, or large starting inventory and a small, medium, or large starting equipment. It looked like one of them was production, and inventory looked like more production gear, such as like a boiler and a steam engine and an assembler, some inserters. And then equipment looked like things like a shotgun and ammo and maybe a turret or something. One of them looked PvP and the other one looked production. All right, looks like Steelaxe has power going up on the left side. They got some water in the upper left.
I was actually just thinking about that. So they've got a very much short on power, but at this point in time, does it actually affect them that much? Because you got all this mining, but it doesn't actually go anywhere.
All right, it looks like they've just had a bump in power because it looks like their miners are now at full capacity electricity.
There we go. He's just connected up all of the steam engines.
Let's look over here. Zulon is putting... Oh, they don't have any spacing between them. So he's got a... Oh, there it is. There's the spacing. He's putting them in between the 2 steam engines, I think. Those 2 are direct connect, just to get things going, I'd imagine. All right. Okay. All right. Let's zoom over to see how Shred Guy's doing.
Their score was a little bit low, but it's started to pick up now. Yep.
Looks like everyone else is all kind of within each other, except for Steelaxe, who has pulled out in a pretty good lead. Looks like Supporters, Moar Faster, and Shrednation all within, what, 1% of each other, looks like. 1-2% of each other.
Oops, Moar Faster just went up to 10,000, then back down to 9. So every time you consume an item, you do lose some of your score, and that's why you'll sometimes see the score go back down.
Last night in doing some testing, I built up a bunch of grenades. I got points for a bunch of the other grenades, and I was throwing them on trees. And because I was throwing so many grenades out, my score per minute actually went negative. It goes into the red as you do consume items. So, for example, here it looks like Rensure is putting in some science into these, and as these science are built, you get points for them. But as they're consumed into science, they're losing points for every science build they have. All right, looks like both Shred Guy and Shrednation and Moar Faster are electing to put their power down south because they found that 2.6 coal down there. Same with Moar Faster. Everyone except Anti is building, or except the Steelaxe team. Keep calling them their leader, but they are a team here. Everyone except the Steelaxe team is building it down south. He's building it up north.
I think Steelaxe has got the smarter point position, at least relative to their base, because everything's a lot closer.
It certainly does cut out a lot of the running time from hustling down there and back.
Shrednation just jumped up to 17,000 points per minute.
Good job. Look at that. Okay, they're ahead of everybody in journeying. Go newbies. So Shrednation is a newcomer to this mode. We haven't seen him and his guys play this. I think he's just been doing mega bases, and I think he was invited 2 or 3 days ago. So he's been doing a lot of studying and to figure out what gets a lot of points. And here it is. This is what's happening is they just ran a belt over here to start building to start storing iron plates and building gears. So I got to believe that's what put them up, and now they're about to have green circuits go down.
Yeah, as soon as you get the smelting going, you'll have a enormous jump in points per minute as you start processing all that plate.
Yes. Yeah, so they get every single plate that comes off this belt, they do get points for. So if you can have this running all the time, it's very important in this mode to do what they're doing here and buffer some of these chests. Like you want all of these to come to store in these chests, so you have a lot of plate in inventory because you get points for those. What you don't want to do is have these guys stop running for pretty much for any reason. You don't want your smelters to ever stop running.
Oh, there's one thing I forgot to mention with the rules. So PvP is allowed for only the last half hour.
Right.
But you can do any kind of military build-up until that point, but you cannot go out and harass other teams.
And that's not a map rule. That's a house rule.
Yeah, that's a house rule.
House rule. Okay. So there's a no rush. What we were talking about earlier. There's a no rush border around the edges of this starting area that that is set for the first 60 minutes. 60 minutes.
60 minutes.
60 minutes. That if I try and run outside, it will bump me back in. It's like it kind of rubber bands you back into the center. That is only for the first 60 minutes, and that is a in-game rule. The next such rule is only enforceable by, say, gentleman's agreement, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So it looks like Steelaxe has elected to ignore these bigger patches for now and go for what is close by, right? They're taking these smaller patches and mining them first because they're closer together and more compact. Yeah, so
I'm just studying Steelaxe's blueprints, and it looks like they're going for the rocket silo, and it is actually possible within the 4 hours for them to launch a rocket.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Me and my team, we are bare. Oh yeah, look, they have the blueprint down.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, and more blueprint just went down. Yep, it looks like they're going to go for the rocket. The rocket, as you know, that with the recent changes in the PvP scoring, the rocket is now your number one point earner. So it's been very much balanced as you know, in the last match that Team Steelaxe competed in, they won by just having massive amounts of concrete. I think they had 1 or 2 people that their entire job the entire time was to mine stone and throw it down as concrete, and they just concreted their whole area, got all kinds of points. Concrete is a net gain, because you produce stone, you produce bricks from it, and you produce concrete, and once you produce it, when you put it on the ground, it doesn't get consumed. You keep it. So they just started spreading concrete everywhere, keeping those points on the ground, and by the way, they're letting themselves run faster. So and be more productive when they ran around, and also the map they were on, they had a ton of stone in their starting area, which this amount of stone really inhibits that strategy. I will tell you that Shred Guy is a really good beer, so it does take a couple weeks to get to know him and to appreciate him, but otherwise he is a flavorful person.
I can just picture just licking his head as you're saying that.
Yeah. You got to have the right palette for Shred Guy, 100%. Thank you very much. I will grab that link.
I've just been watching Moar Faster,
Domain
and
to no
they've
link.
got the two of their 4 lanes going, 2 smelters of their iron plate going, but it's not going anywhere, and I think it's costing them quite a bit in potential points. I know because I keep going to the wrong one.
Right. So whose points just shot up?
Moar Fasters, because they started boxing up all of their iron plate.
Okay, and they are down here.
Steelaxe is just starting green science. I said blue science there.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, there you go. So this at the end of every smelting line, this is so key to get going. Can't overstate that enough. That's something I found out. I was fiddling around last night, and as soon as I started boxing these, the points per minute it's true. It did rocket up. So it looks like we have Will on or the Moar Faster team is on red science. Shred is also on red science. Greens are off the line. Looks like they're build. Green science not far behind. Taking a look up here at the supporters. They have long smelting lines. They're ready to begin boxing it up. Looks like they have red science. Oh, they have green science as well. They are on green science up there in the top. It's a small build, and it looks hand-fed, but it is. They are running with green science. Good job, guys.
I was actually getting a bit worried with the because I haven't got the full smelters completely running yet. But at the same time, I keep forgetting that they do have that build there to keep them going. Yep. So they could be on oil processing first.
Right. Team Steel and oil is a big point earner, especially when if you can grab some tanks and some fluid storage tanks, get those down and just start filling those up. Those are big points. You can really rocket up into the points for just by storing oil. Just like mining and smelting those plates, there is no downside to getting it up out of the ground and putting it in a tank. You will get those points for it. Yeah. Oh, and look. Looks like Team Steelaxe is also they're producing their science, but they're buffering it, which is really smart. They're not they don't have any science, their big science build to put it in yet, but they are buffering it. So
they've got steel running now too.
Oh goodness. Yeah, they have a half line of power. It looks like it's a full line of 20 boilers. Be interesting to see if they run into power issues. Looks like they have. I can't see their power profile. Looks like Commotion Socks supporters have lost a player.
Shrednation like just started their circuit production, so they have their big main bus running, and that's starting to fill up with materials now, and so that'll be why their points are going up. We should see something from Moar Faster very soon, though.
Okay, Shrednation looks like they have green science components on the ground. They've not yet connected it up. Looks like a small green science build has just gone up. They need to power it up, put some inserters down. Commotion Socks back in the game.
Looks like
four science down. Sorry, go ahead.
It looks like Anti-Elite Steelaxe starting their main lab build. They just finished some research. It looks like he's starting to. In fact, they're 4/5 of the way to having military science ready.
Yep, looks like. Oh yeah, look, there's that line.
So they've got the gears and the ammo ready there. All they need to do is just assign the things that they're missing. Okay, that was a red and green science they just started.
Right.
I wonder.
Here in a minute, Rain makes a good point. Is that here in a minute you should see their points per minute drop right now because they just started consuming a bunch of those science. Yep, look at there. It went from 38,000.
34.
There it goes. Yeah. So their only reason why is because they're consuming all of that science that they've stored up. All those are good points on the board, but in order to progress with science, you kind of have to take a step back and trust that the science that the totals you get from making that science are going to benefit in the long run.
That's actually where the concrete strategy worked, because it was very low tech and had a very good points gain.
Yep, and as you know, yeah, that was the big shocker from last round, where Anti and his Steelaxe team. I don't think they had very many. Well, they have 4 people. I don't think they had very many. They never got out of military science. They only did red and green, and they got to concrete, and they just stopped right there. They didn't consume any more. I think they did produce some science, but they didn't use any more. They just concrete is 200 red, 200 green that it costs them. And they got concrete technology. Oh, it's up. Okay. So now the points should start coming back up now that they're going to be producing military science. So look,
28 now,
Shrednation has surpassed them in points per minute, but it won't be long-lived, because here comes military science.
Just anticipating it. Oh, there goes a huge hit of points as the first pack starts crafting. I think Anti plays the long game with the military science, so they produce a little bit. They start producing a little bit early, and then just hold on to them for as long as possible, and then do the military science research later on.
To get to a rocket, you do not need you don't need that much military science. It's not a ton. It's a lot less than blue and purple. Let me jump into my spreadsheet, if I did mine right.
They're out of stone already.
See, that's going to be tough. Yeah, you only need 3,000 max science, and that's if you do a couple of the a couple extra. I think you need less than 3,000 military science to get to a rocket, whereas you're up in the 12,000s with red and green to get all the way up to the rocket. So that's basically fill up one chest of this military science, and then you're done. Oh, wait, it stacks to 200. So 2 rows and you're done. Wow. Okay. All right. Let's check in with Moar Faster. We haven't seen them in a little bit. Oh, they're up here.
Aha. Zulan is putting radars around the perimeter of Steelaxe.
That's actually very smart. To run power around the border, put up some radars, and just check everything around the area to see if there's anything else. Once the hour mark goes, which we have 23 minutes left before the limit is lifted, if you can go out there and grab something specifically, I bet you they're looking for some more stone. That's why they put those radars. Radars expand quite a bit, more than you'd think of, and map around it. So that's a very smart strategy to start hunting now. They do have 23 minutes before they can get out there, but good to get it mapped. Go over here to Shred Guy. Shred Guy, I've almost mined all of this. This coal is getting a little thin. They're down to 177K. They're going to have to make a move with that coal pretty soon, but they've got 2 million behind a bunch of trees, or this other 2.6 down south. Shred Guy has not. Shred and his team have barely touched the stone.
Have a look at their Shred Guy's green science. If you look carefully, you'll see that there is 2 inserters. They're putting yellow inserters on the ground, and it looks like it's meant to go into green science. Like it's meant to be inserting onto a belt that injects it.
Right, they need a belt right there. I wonder if that's an oversight or if that's I saw that as soon as you said they're starting green science. I wonder if they know that's happening, because look over here on the belts. If you look just north of those 2 inserters, there is a belt right there that puts it onto the other side of that little rotisserie. I bet you they're not aware that they're missing. I bet you they're not aware that they're missing a belt right there. They don't know that green science is not going. It's going to hurt them.
What Anti was shouting earlier about ending the rush period early was the other reason that we have the no rush is to stop people expanding out too quickly. Just to curb one team from racing out too far ahead.
Right. Look, Alingus looks like he's looking at this. He's right on it. He's going to put a belt there. He's probably thinking, what are we doing here? Oh, he's going to insert it right there. He's going to put a chest in.
Third chest. That's interesting, because
Okay,
he could have just had a belt there. But
right.
whatever works. It seems like he's got some chronic power issues too.
Yeah. Okay, I mean, just like in Factorio, there's so many ways to get done what you need to get done. It's like programming, or whatever floats your boat.
Oh no, his steam engines. What is going on? Is it just a matter of not enough mining?
No, not enough.
Yeah, it's
coal.
Not enough mining.
Yeah. Oh yeah, look, they're hurting. They need to add some more miners and drag some coal by hand to get those started up.
They put some turrets around it too.
Yeah. I guess they're just paranoid. I mean, that's a long way away from everybody else. That's the south end of the south map. Can't fault them for it. Dark Matter makes a good point. Neglecting power is so easy. It really is.
And if you neglect it, they're at the point where they might need to manually kickstart it again.
And that what they need to disconnect the rest of the factory, let this thing fill up with miners. They need to disconnect one of these 6 poles right now.
They're adding miners, and it's just slowing it. It's getting slower and slower.
Yep.
It needs a jump start.
They did good. They did use burner inserters here, which is that's. I expected to come up here and see yellow inserters and as part of the problem, but no, they did right. They did the burner inserters. Oh look, okay, he's jump starting it. Vasquez has just added a ton of coal to the line. All right, looks like they're up and running now.
Looks like Steelaxe has started up their next, or they're preparing their next lot of smelting.
All right, Green Science is off the map. Let's look at supporters and we'll go take a look at Steelaxe. Supporters team still going strong with the same Green Science, looks like. They've got a lot of mining off the belt. Supporters have not crossed and kept into the 20K per minute. League looks like they are storing, they are buffering their plates. They've got another science build down south. That's good. This is one of the things that I do, I think, is looks like they have too much too early. I think this probably you could cut that line off in half and do 2 lines of iron, 2 separate lines of iron and get going that way instead of 1 large line. It's one of my bad habits.
A bit of a trap you can fall into is you're building a sort of a mega base style base too early.
Yeah. So tempting. If you don't have biters, nothing pressuring you, you can just easily fall into, well, I know I'm going to need this space later, so let's just go ahead and do this.
It's another trap I think you can fall into if you have blueprints, is you start pasting these things down and they're late game builds, but it contains your production rates and materials that really you don't have in early game.
Yeah, and you won't get to for another 50 minutes or so, right? So looks like they have the ghost of another Green Science build down here. All right, looks like they've got
Moar Faster's hammering away red and Green Science.
All right, now let's go look at Anti. Looks like somebody grenaded a couple of their miners trying to clear those trees. Easy to do. They have a line of steel. Okay. God, this is really a very... you were saying the other day, like you look at Anti's builds and they are nice and tight and really well organized. Every line has its dedicated job almost. Look at this iron line; it just goes straight in and has the right amount of everything. This is their looks like their mall, where they have green boards